Hello, Namaste. I welcome you all to the 28th session of Gurubodha. So, coming right into the topic, Hippocratic Oath versus Charaka's Oath. This has been a raging discussion in India. I'm sure this debate is going to get into the Western world and all over the world, like who is better and whatnot. So, just to give a context for this topic, the undergraduate board of the National Medical Commission, that is for MBBS, the allopathy science undergraduation, the board has reportedly decided the Hippocratic Oath, which is an ethical code for fresh medical graduates that is believed to have been written by the ancient Greek physician Hippocrates, will be replaced by Charak Shapath, or the our master Charaka's oath, or Shapath. Oath means Shapath. So Charak Shapath is an oath written by Maharishi Charaka and considered as father of Ayurveda. This was announced just a couple of a week before, and it has raised a storm of discussion on either side. Should we replace it, whether it is necessary and whatnot? So before we get into that, let's understand what is Hippocratic Oath and what is Charaka's Oath and how they compare with each other. Dr. M.C. Mishra, former director of All India Institute of Medical Science, he went on to say that I will go for Charak Shapath or Charaka's Oath and should be followed by all. All Indian Institute of Medical Science also follows Charak Shapath. So there is some votes being made to the Charaka's oath, even by the allopathic doctors as well. Dr. Sahajanand Prasad Singh, President of Indian Medical Association, while interacting with the media, stated IMA, Indian Medical Association, will be holding a meeting on February 1920 on this, as it is going to create a controversy amongst doctors. So Indian Medical Association has been very cautious about the Ayurveda, and they worry that in some day Ayurveda might take over, and they have their own objections regarding this. So they're saying that they're going to do a hold a meeting and then take a call. And then IMA opinion also got into the press, saying that replacing Hippocratic Oath is unacceptable and attempt to mixopathy. Mixopathy is when Ayurveda is being mixed with allopathic practice, and that is the fear and concern raised by Indian Medical Association. And Indian Medical Association is not a government body, or it is not even the regulatory body which controls or which governs allopathy, or modern science, Western medical science. They are just a non-governmental organization or an NGO, but they are coming up with this strong opinion and stating that it's unacceptable in this an attempt to mixopathy. Just changing the vote might not be a mixopathy, is my opinion. Then calling this move to be completely unacceptable, IMA has further termed it to be a blatant attempt at introducing mixopathy. Although IMA is hopeful to get this issue sorted after the discussion with Union Health Minister Mandavia, it has also expressed to take the course of democratic agitation if the problem persists. So clearly, IMA is taking the opposite against stance on this. Next, Executive Committee or member of a Dental Council of India stated that the Shapath will reflect our old ancient culture. Usually, the dental councils, and even as far as I have seen the dentists, doctors in India, they're pretty open to Ayurveda, and so they're very open to getting associated with our ancient culture. So it added Hippocratic Oath being replaced by Charak Shapath will reflect our ancient culture, but Charak was Ayurveda Charya, whereas in terms of modern medicine we follow allopathy, which reflects a predominantly English culture. In my view, Hippocratic Oath and Charak Shapath both should be practiced during a white coat ceremony. Next, an AIMS doctor, All India Institute of Medical Science doctor, noted that Charak Shapath is very similar to the Hippocratic Oath in terms of basic medical ethics. Both are a way to introduce newly joined medical students to medical ethics. The Hippocratic Oath can be considered as a concise version, while as Charak Shapath is a detailed version. So, and before we get into what actually is written in Charak's Oath and Hippocratic Oath, I would like to take Gurubodha sir's opinion regarding this, and just to have like an open discussion and your starting remarks on this whole controversy.
See, there are a certain set of people in India, whatever the government comes with any modification or any notification, anything, just they want to curtail it or stop it or something like that, and they have a mindset that they feel that it is in somewhere in the Western philosophy or Westernized approaches, and they don't want to mix it with the traditional Indian culture and Indian heritage or something like that, which they feel that it is totally an absurd and it is outdated. So because of these mentality, and it's a clash of different set of people, and they feel that there is a fear that it is initial methods of the government to bring in an amalgamation or integration of the courses and all those things in future, keeping in mind those things, and they have introduced the first Charak Shapath, then tomorrow they may introduce yoga, and tomorrow then they introduce some Ayurveda course, and then totally they'll say it's only we'll have one medical course which contains all the creamy things from all the different type of things, and it will be introduced as a national integrated course. So something like that. They have a fear. To overcome that, they always have a saying that, and they want to show their importance. That's the reason they always make an absurd comment. And before that, because government has just announced, I mean, when NCIM has just announced that they are going to replace the Hippocratic oath with the Charaka Samhita. They didn't give you the clear picture of what exactly, how much, and how many shlokas, or how it will be translated, and how much portion should be given and accepted as a oath, and how it should be teach to the young students who have approaches the medical schools. So it's totally an absurd and a very premature comment from the IMA that they're going to oppose it in a democratic way. Let them oppose. The government will take its role to play.
This just replacing with another and considering it as a way of changing the whole of the syllabus into a mixopathy, or encouraging mixopathy, that looks a little bit overstretched. Instead of that, IMA should have taken both the oaths into consideration and said, would have made a comparison and put forth their argument, which would have been more scientific way of dealing with things. So.
Definitely. See, in Charak's oath, it has been quoted saying that which may be lucrative and right from the point of those days. For example, it says that a medical student or a shishya should grow the beard and the mustaches and all those things, and do all. See, this type of certain explanations are there. That may not be required in present context. So it should be taken care of. So definitely the government, before coming out with the final version, they will take a call that what should be done and how it should be done, what portion should be suggested as a oath, everything. So it take its own time. Let's see, and we'll be hopeful that very appropriate and convenient portion is taken care of and used as a oath, and of course it should represent our Indian culture.
It is not like the Hippocratic oath, which was taken many centuries before, is being considered as it is. Even the Hippocratic oath is chopped and cropped to make it more suitable to the current scenario. The current medical oaths, the Hippocratic oath that is being taken, is also a modified version. So, of course, Acharya Charaka, when he wrote the Hippocratic oath, which we'll come to that in a minute, of course, that was very relevant in that ages and times, 2000, 3000 years before, to make it more relevant to this age and times. Of course, it will be corrected. Hippocratic oath itself is refined and and modified to the current times. So there should not be a problem if Charakas is also modified and accepted. So.
Definitely, such efforts will be made and something like that will be done. But unfortunate thing is that even though it is not yet been implemented, it just is said and a program has to be even checked out, IMA is showing a resistance. It is very clear from that point of it that IMA just want to make or maintain its superiority in the medical field in India. They don't want to that everybody should come and we should give a very good health services to the people. They don't want to do it. They just want to keep their supremacy alive. So that is the thing which is happening. And moreover, promptly, you just touch our heart and say that how many of us are following Hippocratic oath in our practice? We know that how much commercialization has taken place. how much violation and deviation from the oath has been done. Then instead of Hippocrates' oath, if Charaka's oath comes in the place, then are you going to change it totally? It's a big question mark. Unnecessary things they are highlighting it, and it is unwarranted totally.
And allopathy, I mean, the whole of the science might have taken its origin in the Western countries and might have come to India and all that. But at the end of the day, the medical science that is allopathy, which might have arisen from many in a different country. So at the end of the day, the medical science is to serve us, the Indians. So we have to take our Indian culture from our Indian roots into consideration. More we total Indian community connects with our Indian roots, more will be our confidence, and that gives more confidence to a new MBBS graduate or a student to serve more Indian people. Ultimately, though the science has come from the West, we are not living in the Western world. We live in here in India, so we should be connected to our roots. And probably switching to Charaka's oath will be a big step, big positive step to connect to our roots.
Definitely, see that should be done. Slowly, we need to bring in this. This is what happened because of the 70 years of after independence. There is a 1 or 2 generations they are being deprived of what is reality. So that reality missing, and the way they are being brought up, they are not ready to accept that these are the right things, and which is a missed link in our history, and we should know our roots. So they don't want to accept it. That's why many a times they feel that they are westernized and their roots are somewhere in the Western culture and all those things. So such type of mentality, people are sitting in the higher levels of the authorities and something like that. They try to bring in such type of things which is suitable to them. But presently now the government is in a different mindset, and they want to bring it all Indian heritages and culture to the limelight. So that's the reason that these things are coming up, just like how yoga has come up to the international level. Now Charaka's oath is also being highlighted. Some sooner or later, even Ayurveda will also going to reach to the different parts of the world. And recently, one of the ex-president of South African continent, the asked Kenyan, I think, asked the government to set up a Ayurveda chair or Ayurveda education system in services in Kenya, because his daughter has regained her eyesight after taking Ayurveda treatment in India. So that is the reason. There are certain things are there. Of course, slowly the things are changing, and people will accept that there is something beyond that, even the westernized medicine. There is something to take care of health.
A Kenyan leader gets his daughter treated by Ayurveda, and now he wants to get Ayurveda into Kenya. So such a wonderful thing to happen. So coming to the actual oaths and a little bit of discussion just to give more clarity. This is how the actual Hippocratic oath starts. I swear by Apollo physician and Asclepius and Hygeia and Panacea and all the gods and goddesses, making them my witness that I will fulfill according to my ability, the judgment, this oath and this covenant, and it goes on and on. I will apply dietetic measures for the benefit of the sick according to my ability and judgment. I will keep them from harm and injustice. So it goes on to hold my teacher in this art equal to my own parents. So respect to teacher is covered there. I will use those dietary regimens which will benefit my patients. So importance to diet is given more importance than the medicine itself. And into whatsoever houses I enter, I will enter to help the sick, and I will abstain from all intentional wrongdoings. So ethical points are coming up here. Now, if I carry out this oath and break it not, may I gain forever reputation among all men for my life and for my art. But if I break it and forswear myself, may the opposite befall on me. So a very high ground of morality is taken here, but it has been some of the variants are the oath is not used as is. and it has been modified. So this is a modified version. I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment this covenant. I'll respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who are to follow. So scientific evidence-based medicine, so that angle is coming up here. I'll apply for the benefit of the sick all measures that are required, avoiding those twin traps of over-treatment and therapeutic nihilism. So going moderate and taking the medium approach, not going overboard or not undertreating, that is coming up. I'll remember that there is an art of medicine as well as science, and that warm sympathy and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. So this is clearly modified, and some of the sentences are getting added. But yeah, this beautifully covers both, merges the boundaries of art and science. So it goes on. I will respect the privacy of my patients, and I will remember that I do not treat a fever, chart, a cancerous growth, but a sick human being. So we are not treating the disease; we are treating the whole human being. So humanity is getting highlighted here. I'll prevent disease whenever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. Looks right out of Ayurvedic textbooks. So if I do not violate my oath, may I enjoy the life and art. So same things. So in Wikipedia, I got this 1989 survey of 126 US medical schools. Only 3 of them reported use of the original oaths, while 33 used the Declaration of Geneva. 67 used a modified Hippocratic oath. 4 used oath of Maimonides. 1 used a covenant. 8 used another oath. 1 used an unknown oath, and 2 did not use any kind of oath. So 7 medical schools did not reply for the survey. So this clearly indicates that, of course, the Hippocratic oath and their modifications are very good, but it is not kind of a universal oath that even all MBBS or allopathic doctors should be following. So there is room for improvement or even room for change, sir.
So definitely. So when everybody wants their own culture and their own material has to be highlighted, why can't we have such a beautiful representation by our Acharya Charaka? 3000 years back, he has given all these things. So why should not we use it? It is better we use such type of things. And even there are so many such dietary restrictions, and even the disciplines being told, even in Ashtanga Hridaya and even in the Swastha part of it, there are so many things that it should be followed even for the purpose of maintaining a good health. So it is better we follow our own culture as far as possible. That will going to definitely help us to retain our health.
Yeah, and moving on to the Ayurvedic oath of Acharya Charaka. Before that, Dr. Devi Prasad Shetty, who has been very big promoter of Ayurveda, who is the founder of Narayana Hridayalaya, one of the esteemed cardiac institutions of India. We inherited medical education from the British, and we have hardly made any changes since. It's good we will take oaths from now in our ancestors' name rather than in a foreigner's name. So this angle of being, British ruled India, and we were treated as slaves, and we were dealt with injustice left and right. So that painful history is part of India, but we should move away from that painful history and into a new era where we are confident and we are connected to the roots and the history of India that was before the Mughal and the British, Portuguese, etc. invasion. So that is coming up. And then Dr. George D'Souza, Dean of St. John's, he says, we should probably do both oaths so that students understand our culture, where the practice of modern medicine came from in terms of ethics. So that is also well taken. So this is a Charaka's oath. This is from Charaka Samhita Vimanasana 8th chapter, 13th shloka. So this is as per their olden ages, ancient times. So this will be, of course, modified, and because culture and there are some social changes that has taken place since it was written 3,000 years before. So it says, in front of the sacred sacrificial fire. So almost all the votes were taken in front of the fire. That was in Indian custom. And in the presence of Brahmanas. Brahmanas not just means Brahmin people, it means learned people and esteemed people of the society. And physicians, the preceptor should give the below mentioned instructions to his disciples. So you should observe celibacy of brahmacharya, maintain your mustache and beard. Of course, this will be taken care. Always speak the truth. reject meat, take vegetarian, being sattvic, so that spiritual angle is also coming in here. Take such foods and regimen in abundance which are conducive to one's intellect and mental health. Because an Ayurveda doctor or any doctor for that matter should also always be alert and active and should be in the best of his mental health. So this is getting emphasized here. Refrain from jealous and enviousness and should not carry any weapons with you. You should always do the works by obeying instructions, except when those works invite you to go against the laws of the land or against the king, to take away the life of somebody, or sinful acts, and go against the dharma, bring about great troubles and calamities. So we are not just the doctors treating the patients, we are important cogs in the social wheel. So we should be behaving respectfully and abiding by the law. You should always be devoted to me, means the guru. Surrender yourself to my superiority or the shastra's superiority, the literature and the science. Subordinate to me, behave in a manner which will please me and be beneficial to me. You should show due regards to me, serve me, and follow my instructions, just like a son follows his father, a servant follows his master, and a seeker follows his donor. So this is the utmost surrenderance to the teacher, the guru, and the science. You should act without ego, utmost care and affection, modesty. Do not find faults with the learned people. Try to learn from others. Do not find faults. You should abide and always be obedient to the instructions, on and on. So, with respect to all the people, you should put extreme and sincere efforts to cure the patient. You should never cheat or mistreat your patients just to make your living more comfortable. You should not even think of committing adultery and should not aspire for any property belonging to the others. So ethical code of conducts are coming in here. Your look, appearance, and apparel should make you look modest and a noble person. You should avoid drinking wine, committing sins, having association with those committing sinful acts. You should make sure that your speech is pleasant, pure, righteous, blissful, excellent, truthful, and useful, and measured and moderate. All these things written in 3000 years ago are still so very relevant. That's the beauty of Ayurveda and Acharya Charaka. Your behavior should be in conformity with and accordance with the time and place. It should keep your memory intact and activated, and should always be indulging in putting your sincere efforts to procure the knowledge of the disease and its etiological factors, also in collection of materials required for treating diseases. So now medical related ethics are coming up. You should always make efforts for the upliftment of your knowledge and adoption of such methods which would bestow you with good health. You should not treat or prescribe medicines to the traitors who are despised by noble people. You should not treat all those who are excessively artificial in their behavior, who are wicked or miserable in their conduct and behavior. On and on it goes. You should also treat those people who are going to succumb to death. You should also not treat those people, those who are on the deathbed, are not worthy of treatment. You should not treat the women in the absence of their husbands and guardians. You should also not treat the woman when she doesn't have consent for the same. So patient's privacy and patient's consent is given much importance here. You should not accept meat or any gift given by a woman without the permission of her husband or guardian. Unnecessary gifts and unnecessary relationships are to be cut out. You should enter the residence of the patient only after obtaining the complete information about the patient. So safety and personal safety and hygiene things are getting highlighted. While entering the patient's residence, make sure that you are well clad, with your head bowed down, having a good memory, having concentration of mind, and active with proper thinking. So all the ethics are getting covered. So you should not disclose the customs, practices, and secrets of your patient's family to the outsiders. After having known that the patient's lifespan is decreasing, he or she is close to death, and the disease has bad prognosis, you should not disclose this to the patient or his family if you suspect that it might cause shock or grief to the patient or his family. So it's a well thought out oath covering all aspects of social aspects, spiritual aspects, and ethical aspects, and of course the medical aspects, sir.
So definitely it's a very elaborate one. Definitely when it is going to be introduced, it will be modified and curtailed, and it is made Yughanurupi. Definitely it will not be totally with such a lengthy, and there will be difficulty for the people who go for MBBS and those things. they will find very difficult to pronounce the Sanskrit in such a manner it is being written. It is not possible for them to even to pronounce. So that will be taken care of, and the translations will be there, and appropriate translations with a modification and a restriction or a curtailing the entire oath, covering the all aspects may be made by the NCIACM, and then that will be promoted, and later it will be accepted.
And probably, I had just shared in the chat the entire Vimanasana 8th chapter. The verse number is 13. So 8 by 13. So in that link, you can read the entire chapter, and also if you go to the 13th section, the Sanskrit sloka and meaning, etc. are there. And probably we are not opposed to like taking the bits and pieces of both Hippocratic oaths, some parts, and incorporating into Charaka and mentioning both. That should also be okay.
So definitely, see, why they are getting agitated or irritated is that Hippocrates is being replaced by Charak. Make it different. We will take a Indian oath. Then nobody will going to replace it anybody. Bring in all the best things from the Hippocratic oath as well as the Charak oath and mix it up and give a very good solid hybrid oath and call it as an Indian oath. And this is the oath which will be taken by all Indian medical schools. It may be Ayurveda or even allopathy or even homeopathy or whatever it may be. So definitely these things are acceptable, and there should be change. There will be change. The change has to come because already 70 years we have been put to darkness, and our history and our culture roots have been cut off, and we need to regrow those roots, and we need to attach to that.
And just saying that, and one of the worrying things is some Ayurveda community people are opposing it, thinking that Ayurveda is getting diluted. That's not the right perspective to think.
See, there will be two type of people always, because if we accept it, it will not be highlighted. If you oppose it, or being in Ayurvedic, he is opposing, definitely he will be highlighted. Even the paper, media, everybody will highlight that. So they will get a limelight. So that is the reason behind that. Dilution. Already it has been diluted. The things will be, once it is put into public domain, definitely it gets diluted. If you give any prescription also to the patient will make further dilution according to his own things. Many a times it happens. So it's there is the unnecessary feeling that will be diluted. Nothing will be diluted. We need to go for a certain change and acceptable to according to the era where we are living in. Definitely modification and alterations are required, and it should be connected to our culture and heritage. And of course, which should incorporate all the things which is necessary in that oaths should be like a ethical part and the medical part and the spiritual part, and even the dharma, everything has to be incorporated, and definitely people will take care of that.
And going with some comments here, Acharya Charaka prescribed 4 parts for a decent physician, one of which is to remain flexible to different approaches and therapeutic tools. This shows how advanced his thinking was. From the philosophical standpoint, I mean, this is just my personal opinion. Out of all the acharyas, Charaka was kind of more advanced. It was not like he was just writing a textbook, medical textbook for their current ages. When they wrote these samhitas, it was for the ages to come, maybe forever. That's why Ayurveda is told as Anadi and Ananta. So they have covered almost all angles, even in terms of medicine and also philosophical aspects as well. So.
See, that's why in Charaka, 30th chapter of I think Chikitsasthana, last he mentions about how he has written this entire grantha. He said, I have done it in a style called Shilauncha Vritti, it is said. So how we used to clean the rice by picking the stones and gravels from it and getting separated. Like that, all the information available in this world has been taken care, and it is hand picked to and collected in a grantha. It's called as Charaka Samhita. That's what he has done. He has said Shilauncha Vritti, and very clearly said, whatever it is been explained here is available everywhere, and whatever it is not explained here is not available anywhere. With such a confidence he has explained, and means that he has covered entire aspects, and even the future thinking is also there. The vision was there, and of course they were having definitely a typical way of looking into the future by their Jnana Chakshu. they used to get all the information, and all these things have been incorporated.
A comment has come. The Charak Shapath you just read out interestingly covers all aspects, including the health privacy policy. Such a visionary. Yeah, I mean, it is not like they just woke up one day and thought that I will write an Ayurveda textbook. Just how I just wake up and write an article on Ayurveda. So it was not like that. It was kind of a well thought out procedure, and it is not just. I mean, any Ayurveda textbooks, starting from Charaka Samhita to Yoga Ratnakura to Vaishya Ratnavali, there's a lifetime. It is not even lifetime. It's a generations together. They have refined it like a fine wine, and then have presented us with the crux of the issues.
So definitely, see, it needs to be taken care of. And of course, there are so many such issues are there in Charaka and Shushuddha and all those things. It needs to be highlighted. And it is the right time to do it. And the government has come forward with the right kind of step. Let the things hope it will materialize.
Next, segueing to our next topic, there's a conflict between ancient times in which the women would take care of the household chorus and the men would go out and work and win the bread and run the family. So there was an interesting tweet. I mean, of course, it's a little bit. This was in January 18. Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, SpaceX. I mean, to give a context to people who do not know anything about technology, there's a large group of mass of people who consider Elon Musk as the next visionary or next leader of the world. So coming from him, we should be much more worried about population collapse. So he has a vision that the humanity will extend to Mars. He is building many rockets and spaceships which will take people to the Mars. And week by week, SpaceX is growing in its in that space science and whatnot. U.S. birth rate fell by 4% in 2020, hitting another record low. And then this is from BBC. Fertility rate, jaw-dropping global crash in children being born. This world is ill-prepared for the global crash in children being born, which is said to have a jaw-dropping impact on society, say the researchers. Falling fertility rates mean nearly every country could have shrinking populations by the end of the century. And 23 nations, including Spain and Japan, are expected to see their populations halve by 2100. So I think the most hit in the current times, most hit country because of lack of population development is Japan. Majority of the people in Japan are old people, and new generation are not ready to put up a family and bigger children, offspring. So that is causing a lot of problems. Countries will also damage age dramatically, with as many people turning at 80 as they are being born. Just to have a few discussions on this matter, the modern society, the modern framework that we are in today is a kind of enabling everyone to have best of their lives. But collectively as human beings, we are sort of lacking in making the ultimate progress of humanity as such. The science is improving, our lives are getting improved, the smartphones, everything is like tech. Like refrigerator is tech enabled, our shoes are tech enabled, our watches are tech enabled. But between all these things, we are sort of moving away from the family structure and the mutual love and respect, and that the family holds, the bonding lacked. So.
See, definitely. Previously, the concept of family and what is the meaning of grihani, all these being changed because of the education. Once education is improved, people think that their freedom to move and they are free to make decisions and they'll take care of their family and everything. But unfortunately, what we have seen is once a female is educated, she is not interested in marriage. And she is, of course, if she is interested to get married, then it will be very late. By the time she could be able to later get one offspring maximum. But when a member in a family, when male and a female, two people are there, at least they should have two offsprings. If it is not two, then it is a very, very difficult thing for the next generation to maintain the population ratio. So that's the reason Many a times we have seen those who are with very rich, those who are very educated, and those who have a particular community, they are restricting their population growth, like Israelis, Jains in India, even Hindu population. Somewhere down the line, it is somewhere there is a problem in understanding the situations, and of course, we will be hit because of this. If it is the birth rate in a family comes below 2, then it is difficulty in maintaining the next generation. See, when at least we have 5 members or 4 members in a family or children, then one or two may go to army or something like that. When you have got only one child, then who will go into army? Nobody will go because parents won't allow. So there will be lot of issues. That's what even China has faced. That's why they revoked the one child policy. But of course, the Indian government very well thought of, and that's why they said we too and ours too. That policy has been introduced long back. But of course, that time we need to control the population burst also. So India had a lot of population. We need to control that also, and along with that, we need to maintain the next generation. Otherwise, there will be definitely by 2100 there will be reversion or even the regress of the population all over the world. But that too in Western communities and very well, economically stronger countries will definitely face a lot of issues with labors and all those things.
Right in China, I mean, they took like 10 years to realize that this their rule of one child policy, which they enabled and which they enforced with stringent laws. Parents were like jailed to have for having two children, and artificially getting twins was also banned and all. But they made this law and went with it for a few years. Then they slowly realized that China was having this, generational advantage 10 years before, 10 or 20 years before, when most of the population in China were like very young. So they went into the labor, they were ready to take up any kind of job. So most of the manufacturing went to the China, and it became the manufacturing hub of the world. So those people, so they started aging. So they are in the 40s and 50s now after 20 years, and they are aging. But with their experience, they are also demanding higher salaries because they have worked for so long. But the new generation is not there to fill up their shoes. So that's why China quickly realized, and they tracked back on the one child policy. And Elon Musk, in another tweet, he said that if at all in a future, if we follow this one child policy, or if we follow the same path and population gets decreased, to correct it, it will require at least two decades, which will be a lot of time. So correction will require like at least 20 years, because the child has to be born, and then the child has to grow till 20 years. Then only the child will be productive to the society and all. So it will be a 2 decades lag, which can potentially bring our extinction. Sir.
Definitely, that's a realization part of it. We need to be very cautious on that part. Each family at least should have 2 children. Then only we will be sufficiently. We will be maintaining that population ratio. Otherwise, the future generation will be at dark.
Yeah, and Pradeepa Rayasamji writes, agree with you, sir. Such a misfortune it is. Modern society puts their career in the forefront and want to plan for a family only after they build some assets. So I see quite a few people in their young 30s having difficulty conceiving. Even if they do, they have complicated childbirth or postpartum problems. At the end, they cannot do justice either with their career or with the kids. Now that women are getting more empowered, and even in India also there is a Beti Bachao Beti Padhao program and all those things coming in. There should be a proper plan for the working women to have peaceful pregnancy, and let them enjoy motherhood for at least paid leave for about say 6 months or 1 year, or work from home option now that everything is digitalized. So such kind of a hybrid arrangement, so that women are welcomed into the working space, and they are also welcome to have their own family and have children. So such a measure can be game changing, sir.
Definitely, the governments will think in that line, and even the relaxation first. Such type of things may happen even in the private companies and things. Then later, the government also may bring in such type of rules and relaxations for women. And even recently, even government announced somewhere I read for paternity leave is also been extended. Previously, it was not there. Only maternity leave was there. So that those things will definitely come into play only when, because everybody wants to be happy with their own life. Then once some time passes, then you need a companion, and you need certain people who can enjoy your growth and your success. When you are youngsters and younger generation and your population and behind your line, if it is not there, then who is going to enjoy your growth and your success and your all these things? So we need to, because we are a social animal, we are in a such a type of society, we need to have at least two member in a family should have at least two children. Then only that will the balance will go. Otherwise, it will be very difficult.
I see a lot of my people in my friend circle and whatnot. Everybody is like satisfied with one child, and even from the psychological standpoint, also. Like, I mean, I have two daughters, and now they are like 7 and 11. So they chit chat with each other so much, and they enjoy each other's company so much. If only one child is there, child has to chit chat or communicate with the parents. There's a huge, we as parents always, I mean, they will come and child comes and says that I ate a chocolate. We'll always start our you should do this, you should not this. We starting talking rules, so they do not enjoy that. So developing communication, having a friend for a lifetime, that bonding. So much the single child is missing in Indian houses.
Definitely. See, that's the reason. I mean, some people are quoting that in future days in India, the people will not understand what is the meaning of mama, what is the meaning of chacha, what is the meaning of dodapa, all those things, type of things, uncle and aunt, because we will be one, and even some families none. So that will going to cause a lot of problem. So they should at least grow in such a type of family and such atmosphere that they'll be caring and they will be sharing and learning. So that's the reason we should have at least two, should have two, not less than two.
And there is this left woke idea that world is already heavy with human beings, so it's good that some human beings die, and they cheer being single and having a relationship but not having kids. So that's also kind of a wrong thing. That I being live means something, and I'm the part of this world ecosystem environment, and I'm contributing. So it is very wrong, both ethically and also scientifically, saying that if some people die, it is good for the world. Every human being is so valuable, and every human being positively contributing to the whole world will solve the problem of this carbon emission, everything, and the temperature rising, all those things will be solved because humans have always evolved, and every human being life is so valuable, sir.
Definitely, every life is valuable, and if somebody feels that I don't want to rise in my family and I would like to enjoy my life and go ahead. If the same thing, if their parents are also thought, then he would have been not there in this world. So if he is there in this world means some continuation of progeny has been thought of, and that is the reason Ayurveda also very clearly given very importance to Vajikarana and Rasayana concepts, and very clearly Acharya has said otherwise you will be just like a lamp in a photograph, doesn't emit any light. You should have a child, then only he can emit light. That's what the analogy has given. So that's like people should understand that everything that is Vanaprastha Ashrama, Grihastha Ashrama, all these things have its own importance. And we need to understand that. And of course, once we have come here to this world and we'll go one fine day, but before going that, we should at least do good things to the society as well as to the atmosphere and to the earth we are in, and which has given taken care of us for so many years. We should return back certain things. It's a good thing to have such type of understanding. simply because I'm leftist, I'm rightist, I'm something like that, and thinking in that direction and my career and all those things. Definitely, it will not only ruin their life but also ruin the entire nation.
And Charu Mahajanji writes, I agree with you, Dr. Hebar. Having baby and being sole caretaker of home and child is daunting responsibility for women. Men need to evolve and take equal responsibility. That's very sure. Otherwise, women will keep choosing to have only one child. Yeah, I mean, that's where, the concept of family comes. So when in trouble, other family members help. That's why we are kind of a connected human beings, not just connected by Wi-Fi or the telephonic data, but connected with human to human interaction. So husband and wife, if husband is ill or busy with the work, wife will take care. Or wife is when is ill, husband will take care. So that is the actual fabric upon which the whole of the human generation has grown thus far. But that looks to be brittle and shaking now.
See, definitely. See, such mentality that women should work at home and take care of the family, and men will work outside, and men won't come into the household activities and help her in doing all those things. These were the concepts and these were the practices 20 years back very rigidly. But slowly, since the last 20 years, things have changed in a different manner, and now even the male partner in the family also will come into play with support the family, and the wife also is involving in earning for the family by doing the job or online job or some sort of semi precious jobs or something like that. So definitely they will increase the income as well as responsibility, and then husband is also doing supporting for the household jobs to be completed, taking care of children for some time, taking care of the cleaning of the utensils, or cooking for 1 or 2 days for the family. All this being done. So that's the reason over a period of time the things are changing.
Joe Marin writes, collapse of family will lead to collapse of society. So that's in a nutshell for sure. And interestingly, to solve this problem, these tech people are sometimes funny. They will always think in a technology way. So this Sahil, one of the investors in the technology fellow from the West, we should be investing in technology that makes having kids much faster, easier, cheaper, and more accessible. Synthetic wombs, etc. Then he's Vitalik Buterin. He's the founder of Ethereum, one of the crypto coins, one of the leading crypto coins, probably the second one apart from Bitcoin. He's from Russia and a visionary for sure. He writes, disparities in economic success between men and women are far larger once marriage and children enter into the picture. Synthetic wombs would remove the high burden of pregnancy significantly, reducing the inequality. So tech people are thinking technological ways to solve the issue. Of course, if it works fine, then it's fine, but we should not like cyborgs who are like implanted with a smartphone attached to the brain. Such a baby should not be born for sure in future, sir.
Hey, it's all something like in a movie they plan it. The science of natural things are natural. See, once there was a promotion and a hype for the chemical fertilizers, urea, pesticides, and all those things was so hyped. Everywhere it is pumped, and then later they realize what is the harmful of that part, and now they are coming with original, organic, desi cow, and so many things. Similarly, even with this, natural is natural. Before thinking of synthetic womb and all those things, they should understand that a single woman who is not married or not become pregnant, just check it out how easily gets cancer. There are certain issues in the life it has to enter in. That phase has to be enter in. A woman becoming a mother is a must. If it is done, then she will be protected against certain cancers. Otherwise, she is more prone for the cancers and many diseases. So we should not go in such a thinking that way of solving the issues in a technological way. Use the technology where the natural things are causing problem. Like if a person, female, doesn't have uterus or some issues because of that uterus has been removed, but they want to conceive and they want to have it, for them you just go with a synthetic womb. Not for everybody. it will going to create further new problems and new diseases in the society. That is going to cause a much more wider path for the investors to think of.
As rightly told, there are many research papers on this as well. A Norway study says that unmarried women had an overall increased cancer risk, which could be attributed to cancer of the ovaries, uterus, brain, and hematological malignancies. And another one published in PubMed says, compared with married women, unmarried and lifelong single women had an elevated risk of breast cancer and so on and so forth. It grows. I mean, there should be like technology should advance and it should solve real human problems. The global warming and other things. It should not replace the human one-to-one interaction, the feelings, the relationships, and all. Of course, there can be a Tinder app. So Tinder app is to develop like if I'm a boy and I'm looking for a girl, I can go to Tinder and send my invitation. If she accepts, then we can meet in certain place and so on and so forth. There it should end. It should not produce artificial chemicals so that love somehow artificially arises. So.
No, see, the total thing is that there is no harm in developing a scientific or synthetic womb, but it should be used where a natural womb is unable to procure or produce. It's only a replacement. It should not become the mainstay. See, main thing is should be in the natural form how it is too. It's a biology. It's not totally physics or chemistry. It is both chemistry, biology, physics. Everything is involved in that, and such things should not be altered or changed. Definitely, if you try to change in that way, it is definitely going to cause a lot of problems. See, just like how hormone replacement therapy we are facing problem nowadays. Simply hormone replacement therapy is also causing lot of cancers and all those things. We may think in one direction and we want to do it in a thing, but otherwise God has his own plans. If you do it in that manner, then there will be new challenges for us to solve it in the form of health issues. So we should take care of all those things. We should not unnecessarily go behind that technologically solving these issues. These issues should be emotionally, biologically, and should be solved in a natural way.
Especially in the West, I've seen a teenage girl has kind of a hormonal acne, little bit of abdominal pain, and periods are not coming like in 30-40 days. Put on estrogen and progesterone for life. It has wreaked havoc on the lives of the women. And unfortunately in India also many of the doctors follow that. And also the another analogy is like cesarean section. I read somewhere that while the child undergoes through the natural birth procedure, because the child is exposed to that vaginal ecosystem with healthy amount of bacteria and all, that itself has imbibed some amount of immunity to even the infant, the newborn baby as well. So and for even for the mother also, the initiation of lactation, other things will happen in a natural way if the natural birth is given importance. But unfortunately, just to skip the painful part of the childbirth process, everyone is going into cesarean section, which is not so very good. So.
Definitely. See, if a mother goes for a natural delivery or vaginal delivery, she'll face the phase of severe pain. But that severe pain will teach her mentally and make her strong to tolerate the pains of the future. So otherwise, they will have a disturbance. Those who are given birth through cesarean sections, they are unable to tolerate the pain in future any other occasions. So that is one of the important situation that they have some sort of confidence and some sort of chemical changes inside their body that supports the toleration of the pain and all those things. When compared to the pain management or pain tolerance capacity, women are more having tolerance than men in tolerating a certain pain, because we know that the delivery pain is something like that. It is equivalent to amputation without anesthesia. So such type of pain, if they could able to tolerate, definitely it will going to give them a mental boost. That part should not be skipped. That's what we are facing it, and unnecessarily going, and of course even the medical fraternity is also pushing them for painless surgeries and painless deliveries. epidural, something like that, something going on, because it's a technique to be marketed and they market it.
We are not like against to the science, just to be clear. Even the artificial womb, of course, if a lady is there and the uterus is so underdeveloped that a pregnancy or a chance of fertility is so less, their artificial womb has its advantage, and that technology should be developed and used. We are just promoting the judicious use of it, and considering the social and philosophical aspects and whatnot. And also C-section, it has its role for sure, and there are medical indications. If C-section is not done, it can be fatal both to the mother and child. That we are not denying. So see you in the next Gurubodha session next week. And on behalf of all of us, the students, I thank Guraja sir for an enlightening session.
Thank you, Janardhan, and thank you for all of the participants for the patient's hearing. And I would like to add in the last one thing. I have two patients, wherein a very young female, they have a very low anti-Mullerian hormone (AMH), and now they have declared that they are unable to bear the pregnancy. They cannot have a pregnancy at all. So for them, if synthetic womb is developed, definitely some techniques are developed, then they may be beneficial for such type of persons. So we are not opposed to such type of artificial arrangements or technology advanced arrangement where it is very much necessary, but it should not be used for everyone. So that's with that note, we welcome all the developments of science, but it should not replace the naturality and the natural part of the life.
Yeah, science should not overrule the conscience.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much. See you in the next Gurubodha session next Sunday. Namaste.
Namaste.